So I'm just checked I haven't said yet, but we got the cameras because last time we came here, I got loads of messages afterwards, just people asking me questions about the talk and things I referenced and asked for the slides. So I thought if I just film it, because Ollie does filming for us for several stuff, I thought if I just film it, then I can just take snippets and you guys can go to our Facebook page, watch them, and you don't have to, you can kind of pick up what we've learned, and if there's anything that was kind of spikes your interest, you can just go and watch it back. But yeah, I'm going to talk more about kind of the business, I guess, more specifically. So is anyone here that has like a skill, like a videographer or a designer, or is anyone like doing freelance work, anything like that? Or are we all just students? Does anyone here own a business, or is it just students? Does anyone here want to own a business one day, or is it just you guys want to run a business? Yeah. Cool. So mine's more specifically about starting a business, like the possibilities of doing it. And I think because I just started doing jiu-jitsu a few weeks ago, and I was doing jiu-jitsu, and there was a sort of 18-year-old kid there, and he, adult, and he was like to me, what do you do? I said, we run a business. He said, oh, we want to do that. I want to start a business. And every time he come back to me, he kept on coming back to me and asking me questions and saying, I want to do drop shipping. I want to sell products on Amazon. I want to do this. I've thought about this. And I thought his kind of thinking about it in a backwards direction. It was kind of thinking, how can I make money on the internet? What the guru's doing. And actually, you just need to take it back to the basics. Because it's quite easy to make a living on the internet. Like, you don't have to make millions. You could make 30 grand, 40 grand a year just on Upwork, selling freelance services, design, videography work, whatever it is. There's loads of things people are doing that are probably relatively, like social posting. You can go and post social media for restaurants and make $5 grand a month doing that. There's loads of little things that you can do. So I'm going to talk more specifically about, how to get started and what that might look like for you. So it's a thing I call magpie. Well, I didn't coin this term, but magpie syndrome. And magpie syndrome is basically, does anyone know what a magpie has in terms of traits? So a magpie is, I don't know if this is necessarily a myth, but I've heard that they go after shiny objects. So if they see a shiny ring over there, they're going to go pick it up, take it to the nest. They're going to find another one, take it to the nest. And I always think a lot of people have magpie syndrome, which is they see one shiny object and they jump from one to another. So that could be from anything in your life. That might be from a sport. You might try rugby and then judo and then karate and then you don't ever get really good at any one thing because you're constantly jumping from one thing to another. And I think in business, a lot of people do that. They see an ad for some course selling, Amazon fulfillment, and they start trying to do that. When actually, if they just kept on the right lane, doing what they're doing, they might have done quite well. So I think the worst thing you can do is have that and just try and think about, like what Rob said about the one thing and focusing on being the best at, becoming a master at what you do. Even if you have a job. So if you're going for a job at a big company and your job is branding, don't get distracted by other things. Try and get really specific at doing one thing within that business and how you can help them achieve one thing. And I think you'll do a lot better personally. So I'm probably going to be like repeating a bit. So I'm going to try and skip bits if I'm talking over what Rob already said. But we basically started doing free stuff for people. So I used to do a bit of personal training when I was at uni. I did a PT course in my placement year. And then when I came back to uni, I did a little bit of personal training just on the side. I never made any serious money really, but it was just a bit of fun, paid the bills whilst I was at uni. And when I was there, the gym owner, I used to do Facebook ads to get a few clients. The clients I did get, I just get them through Facebook ads. And the gym owner said, can you do some for me? So I said, sure. So I just did them for free. And then he'd give me a little bit of money if I got a member to the gym and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we started. And then, we landed a few small clients, like paying £200 a month. But when you're a student, and someone pays you £200, you're like a millionaire, right? You feel like you're a millionaire. So, and then we kind of landed a bigger, contracted relationship, bigger business. And then when we lost them, we kind of forced us to go actually create a business. Because when you're distracted by one, if you're contracted out, you don't really have time to work on your business. You're just inside another business. So losing them was actually probably the best thing that happened to us because it forced us to actually create a proper business, which is what I'm going to talk you through, kind of what happened after that, as opposed to what happened before. Because when we lost them, we were kind of forced to learn the hard way what we're doing. So yeah, just again, stop focusing on like the next game-changing idea. There's all these things at unis where you have like pitch competitions, and you have to go and pitch to a board of so-called investors and give them your best idea. And I did that enterprise module, and it was all like coming up with a really good idea and pitching it to them, and it has to be game-changing, or you get a bad, not necessarily, but it was all based around, coming up with investable ideas and stuff like that. And I think it puts a lot of people off because it doesn't have to be that complicated. You could be selling logo packages on Upwork and be making 50 grand a year doing that. So it doesn't have to be super complex. And so that's kind of what I'm going to talk about. So I broke it down to 6 steps. And I'm going to kind of go through those. So if you want the slides again, just let me know. But this isn't complicated stuff. It's not like a model that I've taken from somebody else. I was writing this up earlier, and it came and it ended up being sort of 6 steps that I came up with. So I'm going to go through those. So the first step is your value. So you have to remember that if you're trying to create a business, a service business, or whatever, you have to have like what value are you going to bring to that person, that employee, that business. It's the same if you're going for an interview. What you're sat there in front of them, they're interviewing you. What value are you actually going to bring to that business? Like why would they hire you over somebody else? And it's the same with why would that person pay you for a service? Like what are you going to bring to them? And Ollie, who's one of our non-execs, I asked him earlier, I said, we're doing a talk at the university. I said, is there anything you would talk about? And he said, well, they just hired 2 people this week. And he said, I did 30 interviews this week. He said, the one person that got the job came in and she'd written a list of 10 things they're not doing that's losing them money right now. And he said the ideas were really clever and smart. And he said, and instantly made me want to hire her because she was actually providing value, that her value was there and she was proving it. So just think about that. And then step 2 is actually having a problem that needs solving. A lot of people try to create these businesses they think should be there, and actually it doesn't necessarily need to be there. People assume these businesses have problems they don't have. So, for example, if there's 10,000 people selling logos on Upwork, that might put you off. But I would look at that and think that's a proof of concept that it works. Like there wouldn't be 100,000 suppliers on Upwork if it wasn't a feasible business model. So what we do is advertising. I'll talk about becoming a big fish in a small pond as opposed to a small fish in a big pond. You can carve your own niche out in a really broad category and do quite well. So you could do design, video, you could do websites still make a lot of money, but you just got to be really specific with the type of problem that you're solving that you don't think's out there already. So don't assume a problem's there. That's basically what I'm saying. And then the last one is being specific. So you have to have a specific solution. Like if we went out there and just, like Reflect Digital came here and did a talk, I heard, they're much bigger than us. They work with big companies. There's absolutely no way. There is a way, but we have to be specific with who we help. If we went and had the same proposition they had and went to the same businesses trying to charge the same amount, there's no way they'd hire us over a company that's been established for 10, 20 years. So we have to come in, change it up, do something unique, be more specific with the type of person we're helping. If you help a specific group of people, then you can always branch out once you've done that, but you're never going to get anywhere if you try and help everyone. So that's kind of the third one. And the fourth one is just mastery. So whatever you choose to do, you should always be focused on becoming the best that you can become. And I think that's the same with anything you're doing. It's easy when you're at uni and you have all these kind of modules and different courses and stuff like that to kind of lose track of what you're trying to actually do. And as a person, you should always be learning and trying to get best at that one thing. If you're going into a job in a manufacturing or whatever, you really should be focusing on becoming the best person at that one thing and learning as much as you can about it. Otherwise, there's so much competition now, and I'm sure you're all aware of that. So, and then step 5 is creating a model for growth. I'm going to talk a bit more about kind of how that works, and Rob kind of talked about that in a bit more detail. So, I'm going to talk about what happened before, let's say when we first started, and what we've learned and what's changed. So, when we first started, we had a handful of higher-paying clients that honestly we got out of, I wouldn't say necessarily just luck, but mostly luck and just good talk basically, and selling yourself. But it wasn't necessarily a scalable business, and now we've got lots of low-paying clients. And that might sound like a headache, but whereas before, you can see we had a higher churn rate. A customer would stay for 3 months and leave. Our customers now stay for 6 months, 12 months, long period of time. All our clients are in different industries. So we had one e-commerce client, travel. We had one in a few small businesses. Now we work with 2 or 3 industries, and they're all local clients. They all follow exactly the same system, same principles, same ads, same funnels. So what works with one client, we know we can take that and apply it to another client. So what would have taken 20 man hours to build a campaign, now will take 4 man hours to build it, because it's just copy paste, and that'll work, and it'll work for the client. They'll pay less, they're happy, and we can take on more business, and the business is actually valued higher when you've got more customers. And a couple other things is custom for each client. We don't do that anymore. It's all templated. price per hour, and now we're priced per customer, and we base our projections as a business on how many customers do we need to reach our revenue goal, how many billables do we need each month. It might be 50 customers, as opposed to how many hours of work do you want to deliver, because you're going to start off doing, let's say, freelance work. Maybe you're doing, social media management for some small businesses, and you're pricing per hour, but it's just you. And then eventually you'll kind of forget about your hourly rate, and you just look at your margins, and you look at your profit, and you look at how can you grow that profit, grow the business, and keep that profit there. So that's kind of a few pointers. So I'm going to talk about, has anyone heard of a business flywheel and what it is? I think Rob actually showed me this before, but it stuck in my mind. When I talk about this, you'll realise that actually it exists in a lot of successful companies, and companies that don't necessarily do very well. Usually it's because they don't operate on a flywheel. And so I'm going to go through some examples. So the easiest example of a flywheel is Amazon, because if you look at Amazon, if you start at the top, they started off with just books, and people would go to the website and browse books, and then eventually they'd go to kind of partnering categories, maybe films or whatever, and they kind of move away from niche to niche, and eventually they had a huge selection of products, and now they're obviously the biggest e-commerce business on the planet. So the more product selection they would get, the more the better customer the experience would be, because the customers would go on there, the products they want would be there, and they'd enjoy the experience. It'd be generally a good experience, and that would lead to more traffic, so they'd come back again, or they'd get their friends to come back. The more traffic would lead to more sellers selling the products, which would lead to more product selection. So you can see how every customer that's fed into the ecosystem of Amazon only improves Amazon's market share, only improves the data they get, improves the service they've got. There's basically no stopping Amazon once they get into that flywheel. Like, they're the biggest snowball rolling down the hill, right? So there's nothing we can do now that's going to get rid of Amazon. Like, every new customer that they get, every service you buy, you get Prime, you get music, you get film, you're just adding to the flywheel, and they're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because they operate on this kind of continuous improvement model. And this is a smaller business. Anyone heard of ClickFunnels? Does anyone know what ClickFunnels is? So I'm sure you've all clicked on a ClickFunnels funnel. When you see an ad that says, get my 5-step blueprint for XYZ, and you click on it, and it's a picture and a headline and a button. That's basically what a funnel is. And ClickFunnels kind of came up with the first idea behind funnels. And basically, you go on there. We use it obviously for all our clients. You go on there and you pay a subscription, and you build funnels for your clients, and then you run ads to those funnels and generate business for the clients. So, obviously, the more proven templates they have, so every time you go on there, you create a funnel. That's more data for ClickFunnels than to go away and create templates that work that they can give to the rest of their customers. So if you go on there, you get a selection of like 10, 20, 30 templates of landing pages. You can just go copy them and paste them in. So the more of those they get, the better the results for the customer, the higher the retention of the customer, the more customers that come, the more customers that are using the platform, the more proven templates they get. So you can see how the continuous improvements there. And it's this kind of flywheel approach that maybe we didn't have when we started. So, if you look at it now, just have a quick read of that, you can see that, now the way it operates is we have more customers operating the same funnels, the same kind of strategies, the same templates. So we get more data and we get better client results because the more data we get. So if we've got 10 cosmetic clinics, or if we've got 5 construction businesses, and they're all running the same ads templates, all running the same funnel templates, that for every single new construction person we get, we know how to improve that because we've got 5 others, and we can just say, well, that's working better. Let's adapt that. Let's apply that strategy to the rest of our customers that are on the same package. And so the more we do that, the better the client results get, the higher the retention, the more clients we get, the more they tell their friends, the more we get, the more kind of, clients, ads we get pushed through our funnels, and obviously that improves the whole ecosystem. But if we had lots of customers in several different industries, we wouldn't have this flywheel. So that's why when we started, it was a lot harder to grow, and it was kind of, you have to be specific to grow a business. So, you look at Pepsi, and Pepsi's just got one product pretty much. And lots of people tried to create lots of products to undercut Pepsi, and they couldn't do it because they really kind of laser focused on just making the best fizzy drink that they can. And if someone thinks of soft drink, fizzy drink, you think of Coke in most cases, Coke or Pepsi, and they've both done that. So why is that useful to you is a question I was sort of thinking when I was writing that. And if you're going in for going into work at a big company, I think it can be easy to get into the attitude of, I'm going to put myself into this position, this job, do the job they tell me to do, and that's it, and kind of just go by day to day. But if you want to do really well in in the corporate world, or if you want to start your own business, I think you have to understand the basics of business and how it operates and how it works, because ultimately that company is making enough money to pay your wage, and for every person that they hire and employ, they're thinking about how much money they're going to make from hiring you. So, we work with the guys we work with in Andy. They have an exact number they might be £10,000, £8,000 per month they have to make for every employee that they get. So if they hire a new person, they have to make £10,000 more per month to justify hiring that person. So you need to think about how you can provide value to a company. If you want to go up and grow and get higher and succeed, you have to really understand how companies operate and what's the owner thinking, what's the founder thinking, what's the directors, what mindset have they got, and try and get into their brain. And if that's what you want to do, then I think this is probably useful to you. So has anyone heard of a KPI model? Does anyone know what the word, the phrase KPI? So obviously the normal phrase for KPI would be a key performance indicator. There's a book called Key Personal Influence, which I think everyone should read, really. I only read it about 6 months ago, maybe even less. Daniel Breezy, yeah. Do you know him, or do you? We've met him actually as well. How do you know him?
Well, he just runs a stable of churning clients through his model. So they have a site there before.
Yeah.
Pipeline, you pay a fee,
Yeah.
and you push through the program.
Yeah. Well, did you do his program? No. Well, he pitched us, obviously, as you can imagine. But we went to one of his seminars in London. But I wasn't really interested in doing any of his paid courses or anything like that. But the book itself is really good, and I think it's it kind of, for me, reading that book, it gave me a lot of ideas. So, for example, the idea behind a key person of influence is in business today, lots of companies are driven by a person at the top who kind of generates the leads. If any of you went to work in a big PR agency in London, it's not just, there's people at the top who are generating those leads that are sustaining the business, and usually that's what we might call a KPI. So there's a kind of a few things that the KPI model, let's say, encapsulates. And I kind of put those down here, but the first one is, so a key person of influence has a compelling answer to the question, what do you do? So if someone was to ask you, even if you're employed, what is it that you do? Who in here thinks they would have a good answer to that question, other than I'm a student or I work for IBM or whatever? Would you be able to tell them what is it you actually offer the business? How do you improve it day to day? And that's one of the most important things. You call it an elevator pitch. I don't really like the kind of salesy terminology like that, but it essentially is what it is. The second one is key people of influence create blogs, articles, reports. This is more important if you want to become a business owner. But I'm going to show you a couple of examples in a second of people that we know who have done really well in regards to kind of the same model, service-based businesses, so design work, landing pages, websites, and kind of why they've done well is because they've created that KPI status around a certain category or niche. So, if I was to Google your name, what would come up? Would it be just your Facebook profile? Would it be an article from Forbes? Would it be, a published YouTube video that someone's done on you or whatever? So if you want to do well in business, you really have to be putting out content to the world, whether it's blog content, Instagram content, Facebook content, YouTube content, just putting it out there, creating that kind of KPI status, I guess. And then rather than purely trading time for money, a KPI, key person of influence, surrounds themselves with product ecosystems that make money. So like if you're trying to create a business, and I talked about being a service business owner, being a freelancer, eventually you might want to, when you've done a few years in your belt and you've made a few quid doing that, you might want to hire someone else to do that for you, and that's when you actually have a business as opposed to just being a freelancer. Because realistically, we use contractors, but we don't really have a proper business like Amazon, Pepsi, the big ones do. We do most of the work still. So eventually in a year's time, hopefully we will have taken ourselves out of the operational side of what we're doing, and then we can be able to actually say we have a proper business that we could go away on holiday for a month and it wouldn't, the business wouldn't end. Whereas if I went away for a month now, Rob would struggle. If he went away for a month, I would struggle. So it's creating an actual business that operates when you're not there is the dream goal of what everyone wants to do. And obviously if you want to become a KPI, you must stand out, be recognized. As I said, Google says who you are, and then key people of influence create opportunities with other high performers. I don't really like that phrase, but just other people in the industry, so that everyone can achieve more. I'm sure you've all got people in your mind that, whether it's social media influencers, whether it's people you look up to in business or whatever, you might consider that Elon Musk to be, in terms of electronic vehicles, the KPI. Like he's the go-to person for electronic vehicles, right? There's lots of subcategories of things that I'm interested in, and hundreds of thousands of others are interested in, but you might not think about them. So, like, I'm going to talk about some examples, but like video ads, or whether it's design or logos, or restaurant marketing, or whether it's anything, it can be. There will always be a person that's kind of seen as the go-to person within that field. So if I'm on the internet, if there's a Facebook group and someone posts in the Facebook group and says, I'm looking for a local business marketing expert, I'd want them to tag me or Rob or us. I want us to come up in conversation. If we come up in conversation, that we have achieved that KPI status within that subcategory of business. So I know it's very specific, and it might not apply to a lot of you who don't really have any interest in starting your own business, doing your own thing. But if you do have an interest in that, then definitely give that book a read, because it's a really short read, but it's definitely worth it. So I spoke just a second ago, but becoming a KPI is, if you were to go into websites and you wanted to build websites, and you just set up your website and you said, I help business owners make more money on the internet, and that was your phrase or whatever mission statement, it's not very powerful. Whereas if you were to say, I create sales pages for restaurants, or something really specific and measurable, and it's a lot easier to get the ball rolling. So let's say you were to start a small business helping manage social media for cafes, for example. If you've got 3 or 4 cafes under your belt, that's 3 or 4 case studies in the same category, you can start to grow that little sub-niche and become the KPI for that particular thing. And it sounds silly, but to succeed now, you can't be something for everyone. If you're trying to be something for everyone, you're nobody for no one. So you have to be specific in who you're trying to help. So always try and be a big fish in a small pond, if you can. So I'm going to talk about like social media and how kind of we got started. A lot of our clients come from online, so through Facebook and through our Facebook group that we have, and so I've got this funny avatar done on myself, but I thought it was cool. But this is like my Facebook page. So if you go to my Facebook page, I'm sure if you went to some of your Facebook profiles, you'd see a picture of you with your mates in the club and the cover photo, and maybe you and your missus in your profile photo or whatever, and it would just be, you'd have no bio or nothing or anything like that. There'd be no links. But if you want to, get clients, grow your business, you have to be using your personal brand and growing your business through your personal brands. If you go to my profile, you'll see, what we do. Our mission statement is in my bio, and a call to action is in my bio, and it's all branded to our business. And you can click and link, join our Facebook group for free, and you can kind of become in our ecosystem. So wherever you possibly can, you want to be pulling people into your ecosystem and get them involved, not trying to pitch them straight away. So someone might click, see my profile if they're a local business owner, and they'll think, I'll join the Facebook group because it's free. They'll join the Facebook group, and then they'll see the content, they'll digest it, they'll message me on Facebook, and it kind of all snowballs from there. But if I started doing videos in groups, and that's how we got the ball rolling. I'd go into a Facebook group and I'd talk about strategy and post videos and content, and I'd get loads of engagement. I'd get about 30 messages afterwards, and I'd just push them all to the Facebook group or into the email list and generate leads that way. And we get constantly get messages on Facebook of people asking, can I have coaching? Like younger people who maybe want to start a business or an agency, they're always asking me for coaching. It's not what we do at all. I don't think we have any interest in doing that. But the point is, you can create that kind of, you can sell services online. It's not hard. You can sell a service on your phone, on your sofa through Messenger, and you can send them a PayPal link and they'll pay you. You can sell coaching, you can sell it's easy. Like, you just got to figure out what that thing is that you're trying to help people achieve, and position your whole brand around that one thing, and don't get distracted. Put all your content should be focused around that one thing. And if someone posts a question about what it is that we do in these groups, people will tag me and they'll ask my opinion because they've seen my videos and they know that I'm the person that comes to mind when they think about local businesses and ads and stuff like that. So that's kind of what the KPI model encapsulates. And this is just, use your personal profile. I'm always posting mine, updates, stories. People like documentation and stories rather than posts. So I'm not going on there posting, just screenshots of results and sales pitches. It's just content and what we're doing. And if we go to an event and we meet people, I'll post that picture. If I'm going, if we're doing something in the community, in the group, I'll post things like, looking to get some workshops done. Who wants to join in? I'll get 20 comments and stuff like this, and just all through personal profiles. And if you like Instagram more, you can use Instagram. Whatever it is that you like, you can generate enough business organically just doing stuff like this. You don't have to have loads of money when you start out. and you have to get creative. So that's kind of what we did here, and it works really well. And a lot of our business comes from Facebook. So, yeah, I already said this, but when someone speaks about you, your area of expertise, you want them. If your name's coming up in conversation, that's job done basically. If you want to start doing websites for real estate agents, if someone asks that question, it comes up in conversation, and your name comes up, then you already achieve that status. You don't have to be top ranking on Google. You'll find that most business is probably done through social now anyway. So it's through conversations, Facebook groups, pages, stuff like that. It all works better than Google now. So I just thought I'd talk through a couple of people that we know that we've kind of used the same model and started off as freelancers and done quite well. And maybe it would give you guys some motivation to do it yourself. If you ever, and it might be in a few years you'll go to do a job and you might want to, try something yourself, and you might not want to do this now, but I did a placement year, and that placement year made me want to do something myself. It just gave me the energy to want to do that. So I'm going to talk through a couple of them. So Ollie's our business partner, and he and his business partner, do run landing page guys, and they've got a team of like 30 now, 40 internationally as well. And they do, when they started, they were just freelancers. So they would just say, we build highly converting landing pages. People will go and pay them £2,000, whatever. They build them a landing page. But now Ollie is, he's got the snowball effect, but he's never lost sight of what the one thing is that they're doing, which is building high converting landing pages. Now they do sales pages. They might do websites, they might do funnels, but it's pretty much the same thing as they were doing 6 years ago. And now they've done like 6,000 plus projects. And if you go to Google and you search Oliver Kenyon, you'll find like entrepreneur.com article, you'll find articles from him on affiliate networks and, all this stuff, because he's created that status for himself, and people know him for the guy, the landing page guy. If you want a question about landing pages, you go and you tag Ollie in the post or whatever. So it's just one example. And the second one is Jeff Minickback, who I really like. He's a good friend of ours. He founded a company called No Limit Creators, and you go and look these guys up and see what they're doing. And he started on Upwork. He was on Upwork, and he just did video ads. So just, when you're on Facebook and you're scrolling and you see a video ad that's kind of animated text on the screen and it's kind of eye-catching and stuff like that, companies would just pay him $500, $400, whatever, to build them a video ad. And he got those clients from Upwork. So his first year as a freelancer was actually on Upwork, and he's a freelancer for years and years and years before he started his business, which was No Limit Creators. But he had to build up that status and that, for people to actually know who he was before he could then create an actual service. And now he's got 100 employees, and he has just one single service, which is unlimited graphics and video. And we use him. He's brilliant. His business is amazing. But it is very simple. Like, it's not overly complicated. I think the point I'm trying to get through about this talk and what I'm kind of discussing is it doesn't need to be hugely complicated, whatever you're trying to do on your own. It just needs to serve a purpose and a problem. And ultimately, you just want to focus on your customer. So whatever you're doing, have a think about, is this actually, am I saving the money? Am I making the money? Am I saving them time? What can I do? What skills do I have that a business would pay me £200 a month, £300 a month, £100 a month, whatever? That's more, more scalable. So it's like, rather than going and having a job and earning £10 an hour, £20 an hour, salaries, whatever, how can I make £40 an hour, £50 an hour? Like, what can I offer the world that they'll pay me to do that? And it might take you a while to get the ball rolling, but, it's entirely possible, and these people, neither of those guys start with loads of money. It's just through hard work and just trying to be the best at the one thing that they do. So that's basically it. And if you've got any questions, just let me know. And if anyone's got any questions after this talk, Rob and I are happy to just hang around. Just come up and ask whatever you want. But thanks for having us. Appreciate your Monday night's been taken up, so hopefully it was worth it and useful. And if you want to find us online, you can just go to our Facebook page. Is being like, name's being changed at the moment, so it's kind of it's actually called Poke Growth Agency at the moment, because it's in like a halfway house. But it will be Growth on Facebook. If you want to find us, you can find me on Facebook. Add me, just Samuel Darby, and then we can just, if you've got any questions, just feel free to ask. But thanks for having us.